And we're back here on the GioMoShow, 88.3 FM WXOU, your home for Oakland sports and beyond on 88.3 FM. And we have now reached that beyond segment of the GioMoShow where we're talking about the NFL. It's time for football therapy. We only get to do it one more time for next week post-Super Bowl show. But this week we had that bit of a week off. And in that week off, they had the Pro Bowl games going on. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But about the Super Bowl matchup that we have here. Obviously, it's not what literally anybody wanted. Unless you are the fans of those participating of the 49ers or of the Chiefs. If you're not in those fan bases, then I got a hard time thinking that you got any juice and any skin in this game. It's tough, especially when you had the Baltimore Ravens, the best team in the NFL. They had the best defense. They had the best running game. And you know, I just found them to be a lot more exciting to watch. Not only because of just how good they were, but simply because it's a new team getting to the Super Bowl, and it's a new team trying to make their legacy known in NFL history. That's kind of the way I lean. I like the underdog over the overdog, and I get sick of winners really quick. I understand how stupid it sounds, but it's just what interests me in terms of sports narratives. I'd rather see the team that has built their way up to this shot, to give themselves that opportunity to get into history either for the first time or for the first time in a long time or for the first time for those on the team. I like those stories a lot more than the guys who just are so good and so historically great that they just keep going, and it doesn't matter what anybody likes or what anybody says or does, they're still going to be there. I understand that you like more of the Goliath, but I'm more of the David type. So to get the Chiefs, who have been there, 3 of the past 4 Super Bowls, they've been in there, and they've just been home game in the playoffs the whole time. Every AFC championship game for the past, I think, 5 or 6 years. I get fatigued very quickly on teams like that. And obviously, the previous one was the Patriots. Dynasties get a little bit old for me. So, yeah, I wasn't too happy with the Chiefs beating the Baltimore Ravens. And you guys heard me talk about it last week on the GioMoShow. You guys could go and tune into that. I got the clips set up specifically for the NFC and AFC championship games. I just couldn't believe that Baltimore blew it. I can't believe how their brains just didn't show up that game, made the dumbest penalties, the worst game plan, and it was so winnable, and they still couldn't do it. It bothered me so much. I didn't care. If it was the 49ers and the Ravens, fine. If it was a rematch of the old Harbaugh Super Bowl that happened in 2012, I would have been fine with that. But to get a rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl, that was like that. I mean, personally, I wasn't as focused on football as I am now that I'm in the sports media game. But, that I wasn't, too keen on that matchup. But, to get it again just after 4 years, I don't know. It's just not grabbing me. It's not as interesting as if the Lions were in it against the Chiefs, or if the Lions were in it against the Chiefs or against the Ravens, or basically every other possible Super Bowl matchup would have been more interesting to me than the one that we got. And it's a sentiment that is shared throughout the nation, and especially around the Metro Detroit area. Those of the Lions fandom, they share that sentiment too, because not only is it, it's just the teams we've been seeing all season. It's, we get more State Farm commercials with the Chiefs, and we get more of the Taylor Swift coverage that has been an old story since it started. And it's, I find the 49ers to be a little bit more interesting, but, it's the Brock Purdy story. It's the dumb argument of if he's good or if he's bad or if he deserves it or if he is just undeserving of it. I find it to be a dumb conversation with Brock Purdy. He's good on his good team. He's not Joe Montana. He's not the best in the world. But, like, why does he have to be the best in the world if he's in the Super Bowl? The team around him is good. So what? Why is that his fault? Like, I don't see why it's such a huge conversation. He makes the right plays. Some of them are pretty good plays. But he's a second-year, last pick in the draft out of Iowa State. Why does he have to be the best in the world? The team is built to fit a quarterback exactly like him. And he is fit onto a team exactly fit for him. Like, I don't understand that whole conversation. So it's like, it's just, if it was the Ravens and you got Lamar Jackson, you got this new style of football, you got Jim Harbaugh winning a Super Bowl for or winning the championship for Michigan, and then you got John Harbaugh getting ready to do the Super Bowl, and get 2 Harbaugh championships in 1 year. Like, I like that story a lot more. I like the defensive history of the Ravens and how Roquan Smith is like the heir to the throne of Ray Lewis, like, I guess in a modern version of it. I find the Ravens much more interesting. But they played horrible in their only hosted AFC Championship game and didn't deserve to go, sadly. So where am I going with this? Forgive me, it was just a little bit of an unscripted segment, just my thoughts on the matchup. I don't want to get too much into, like, it should have been an alliance. Obviously, it's going to hurt. Obviously, it makes for a less desirable experience that we could have been there. But I'm not talking about that right now. It hurts too bad. It's going to hurt in the Super Bowl when it's like, it should have been us. We're not talking about that right now. We got the 2 red teams going at it in the Super Bowl. And yeah, let me talk about the colors for a second. Let's get to the really dumb part of the conversation I want to have. Is above all of the storylines and the matchups of the play on the field, 2 red teams, nasty looking in the Super Bowl. I don't like the aesthetic of it visually. I remember when it was the first time it was that matchup, it was just red cups all over the house. I like it where you buy you buy the cups and it's like, who are you rooting for, Uncle Joe? I'm rooting for the blue team on my cup here. Or I don't know if my Uncle Joe would be as positive about it. I'm just teasing. But there's no colored aesthetics here. You got 2 red teams and it's like, this doesn't look appealing at all. Both the end zones are going to be red. Like, I don't know. I don't like the colors. So be it. Let me hate the colors. I think a blue and a red would have been better. I think a purple and a red would have been better. I think a blue and a purple would have been unique. Definitely. I don't know if we've ever had a purple and a blue Super Bowl before. I mean, the purple would have to come either from the Vikings or the Ravens. The Vikings, I don't think, played a blue team back in the 70s. No, I mean, purple and blue. You got the Ravens and the Giants in 2000, but I mean, the Giants were, I guess, the primary colors are mostly. Well, they wore white in the Super Bowl, but so we've seen the colored before, but either way, I mean, it has been in 24 years that we've seen that colored combination. So, it's gonna be a lot of red, and it's gonna be the Niners and the Chiefs. In terms of the game itself, I'm going to take the favorites in this one. I think the 49ers have knocked on the door for long enough on the Super Bowl that they're due. I think that their team is built in a way that is well-rounded and capable of doing everything that the Chiefs can and more. I know the Chiefs' defense is very, very good, but it's when it's just defense and it's just a run game, when you have the best quarterback, it's like the quarterback can only do so much. If you're handing it off, it's not about what Mahomes can do. If you're throwing it, it's going to be dropped. Kelsey's the only one that can catch it. Kelsey will catch it a lot in this game because it doesn't matter. That's another side point. I think Kelsey's going to catch it a lot in this game. But it's Mahomes can only do so much given how the team is built, in this day and age of the Chiefs. So it might be a sloppy, it might be a defensive, slow Super Bowl, but I got the Niners in this one because I think their defense can stand up to that of the Chiefs, and their offense is a lot better than that of the Chiefs. So we'll put it simply, I think Mr. Irrelevant can win a Super Bowl over the new GOAT. Could we call it Patrick Mahomes? But, it's going to be a rough Super Bowl. I don't got the juice for it, but it's what we got, and it's what we're going to watch. I'm not going to not watch it. Let's be real here. I'm going to watch it. And you guys are all too. Don't act like you're boycotting it because the Lions are not in it. You will watch it. So that's just about all I got for the Super Bowl here. I mean, like I mentioned, it's the whatever matchup. I don't got a whole lot to say about it. So we're going to take a short break here, and then we'll wrap it up with my thoughts on the Pro Bowl, how it's formatted, and why people have a problem with it, and whether I have a problem with it or not. We'll see. And you'll have to see in just a few moments here on the GioMoShow. Before we go to break, we got Friday Night Grooves here on WXOU. Fridays at 8 p.m., you can listen to DJ RBJ tune up his songs in Friday Night Groove. He's been hosting it since 2011, and he plays the best soul, the best jazz, the best electronic, indie, and alternative music that we have here at the station. I got to say it. I got to give it up to RBJ. He's got the best stuff here on the station, and he's got a voice that will just melt your heart. He's got the best radio voice in the game, and it's a shame that he plays so much music because I just wish that he would talk more during the show, but he does a great program for Friday Night Grooves. Once again, it's Fridays at 8 p.m. right here on WXOU. You could go to his website, FridayNightGroove.com, to get more details on the show, or you can follow at Trill Gunderson. That's at TRIL Gunderson on Instagram for more on the show. Friday Night Grooves, 8 p.m. on WXOU. We'll be right back with the Pro Bowl games right here on the GioMoShow.